Now the HDMI is like that. So that means that these little that's and now let's try the other screen as well. Look, it's all normal looking now, just like how the composite was now. It's not doing this. It's not looking all smudgy like it was earlier either. I mean, like the black smudges, not the blue type looking stuff. Look, it looks actually normal, natural, like the composite was looking. Now, if the colors seem a little bit too bright or too dark, that could just be my TV's color settings. I haven't really checked that. And the phone's kind of shaky right now because I'm shaking my hand. But yeah, you can definitely tell it wasn't like all awful looking like it was before. So that's the difference, you see? All I had to do was change one little setting. One setting. And now it looks like this. This and if you notice that changing other settings changes other things. If that's all it takes, and now it's not doing that shimmering, this thingy, like this, the graphics or whatever. Then who's to say that that's not the case with the CRT as well? As he said, it was doing 480p to the four. Was it 480i? I think it was. Here, let me check. I think the PS4 says. Not PS4. PS3 says what it was. And yes, I'm cleaning out the game. You saw how clear it was, so that was great. It looks really nice now. Of course, I'm still in 4:3, so I got to remember to change the aspect ratio in a little bit. But yeah. Okay. So now that we know that, and we've seen how nice that looked. Okay, so the next thing I was gonna do was oh man, I kind of forgot. But yeah, you saw. Oh yeah, I was gonna check the display settings to show that that before the mount was, and I don't think this part lets you choose the 16:9 or not. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, so he was saying it was doing 480i, I think it was. Really? Because I think 480p is the lowest you can uncheck. I mean, not uncheck, but you can. Is the only one you can't uncheck. I can't. Yeah, that you can't uncheck. Because look, I can uncheck all these other numbers, just not this top one. See, it won't like let me. But if I go to the other ones, I can, like this one and so on. So yeah, and if I go to the next again, it's just going to do that. So it doesn't let you choose the 16:9 or 4:3 and the HDMI output. But yeah, so now that we know that, although you might be wondering why it's still in 4:3 then, it's because I have the TV and the AV receiver both set to 4:3. But yeah, so if that's the case, all it took was me changing just one little setting, and boom. The HDMI looked just as good as that composite that wasn't all flickery. It started being firm like it's supposed to be. That's like changing the display you're using in a way, because that's what I was I was changing outputs and inputs. So just because one CRT does that, I don't think they all would or do. So I think if he were to try a different CRT, it might not have that problem. It might not do the flickering, especially because he said that the Mitsubishi does a good job of scaling. If it's scaling, then maybe that's why it's getting the 480i and not because of the PS3. Maybe it's the Mitsubishi TV doing it. Anyways, so instead, I think he should try a different CRT, a few different ones, and see if they all have the same problem. And make sure that he has those settings still set the right way that he had them set in the video. And you should also make sure that what is it? Display settings is what I'm looking for. It should be in this category somewhere. Sometimes I just forget how far up or down the list it is. Oh, there it is. I see it. Display settings. So one of the things in here was so this you should make sure is set to composite /S video for the CRT. Because unlike the Nintendo 64, just by plugging in the cables, it won't switch it to S video or to composite. You actually have to go into this setting and set it to it. But I think he already does probably have it set it to it, because otherwise I don't think it would have displayed on the CRT. So it's weird that it's showing up green in this phone, because like on the TV it's black, that S video cable. I don't know why it's showing up as green. This camera phone really isn't very good. But whatever you do, make sure you don't use AV multi-SCART for those American CRTs, because we don't have this kind of input on the right. Because I used to think that was the audio video input, because it says AV multi. So I thought that was like the composite, but you shouldn't use it for that, because I thought it was like the red, white, and yellow cables, because look, it has like the 3 ports down here. Because usually component, because like it even says video L audio R. It's like you get real close, it says video L audio R. So that's like a composite video, but don't use that on the American TVs, because guess what? I used that on my CRT for a very long time, and it stopped working because of that. So don't do that unless you actually have this thing up here, this input, this little thing that looks like this. I think I said in an earlier video, I actually had that kind of input on one of my scalers in the front room, but I don't have the cords to use it. So. But I do have an HDMI cable, so that's what I use. Anyways, yeah, so it's just kind of, so just make sure it's composite S video. And what else? Oh yeah, and then on the next screen, you can choose on 4:3 or 16:9, I think it was. So I mean, you can choose widescreen or you know, you can choose the screen size like. So yeah, so just set those that way, and then set the game settings just like how he said to do it in the video, like the PS2 scaler off. PS2 scaler off. It does both PlayStation and PS2 games, and the smoothing off. However, if you're using HD TV, I would say to turn these on. You can't really see me putting it on, but it has the options for off, normal, and full screen. So I'm going to choose full screen. I'm also going to turn on the smoothing. There's no reason not to, now that you know about how the HDMI looks just as good as the composite, and the composite can look as good as the HDMI, because they actually do pretty much the same, as long as they're set to the right settings. So now that we've done all that, so the only other thing is that if you're going to use it with an HD TV playing these PS2 games, like I said, to turn on the scaler for the HD TV, and to go ahead and use the M Classic with that scaler, because remember, I made that other video about the Nintendo 64, and M Classic looks really good with scaler. Believe it or not, it doesn't treat it the same thing as upping the resolution. So it still does the same amount of work. So yeah, so you should do that. And also the M Classic, you should set it to the green color for the Switch, at least for the American one, because I think the Europe one they actually reversed it for the blue and the green. So yeah, so for the M Classic, make sure that's set to the green, because I tried the blue with that Nintendo 64 before, and it did not look good. So yeah, set it to the green. Oh, and also, while I said I would need those things to make the Nintendo 64 look better in previous videos, I would also need a monster cable. I just have like a bare minimum third-party S-video cable. But if I had the monster cable, yeah, it would definitely look a lot better. So you have the monster cable, Brainmeister, and an OLED TV 75-inch made by LG, probably, because they usually have like the best stutter kind of technology. So that would be what you'd want, and then you just need to set the refresh rate to this one setting that I saw Vincent said it too, which is, he has a YouTube channel named HD TV Test, and he shows you where to set the refresh rate so you won't get screen burn in from the OLED TV. However, there are now mini LED TVs which are supposed to be able to get the as dark of details as the OLED, but also be able to get almost as high of highlights as the LED TV. So yeah, if you can get a mini LED TV, that sounds like the good way to go. Though they're probably really expensive. Alright, so next I'm going to change the aspect ratio back to normal for the PS3 now that I'm not playing PS2 games. So first this one. As you can see, I'm going to set this one to full. And you notice it's still going to be kind of not all the way full because I need to change the receiver setting. So I'm going to do that for the receiver next. And it should be this. Yeah, come on. I hate this remote, I'm telling you. Full. Alright. In fact, if I remember, I think this receiver setting actually looks better on auto. So I think I'm going to actually change the receivers one to auto while the other ones are on full. But zoom, yeah, that's obviously too big, way too big. Auto, there we go. Yeah, that's usually a little bit better. Okay, so now we know, and now you've seen what I was talking about. So now we've seen what and now we know that that graphical glitch looking thing from the HDMI wasn't from emulation. So because it was a setting, it's just that one little setting being not quite where it should be, but it was making composite look right. It was looking fine. And then we changed it. HDMI looks fine now. Now there's no composite. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting that that's how this receiver works and stuff, and how just making sure you have the right settings makes the difference. So that can be the case with the CRTs as well. He was also telling me that colors didn't look correctly when the PS3 was doing PS1 games on the CRT. If I was him, I would check with his 240p test suite just to double check to make sure all the colors are right while the PS3 is playing the PS1 game. If that makes sense. Well, if you can do it that way. I don't know if you can do that. Because well, maybe you could, well, I think you could maybe play the disc on, well, I don't know if you could play the disc on a PS3 that way. So I guess I'd just double check to make sure his 240p test suite has, like how his colors are on that, because he has that for the Dreamcast. So I double check that on his Mitsubishi TV, just make sure they're the way that should be, because that is a 240p. So that'd probably be right. Well, unless his Mitsubishi really is 480i, because the reason why I say that is because he said it was doing a good job scaling. It shouldn't be scaling at all if it's a 240p. So anyway. Alright, on to the next thing. So now we've seen what that's like, and now we know that those graphical glitches weren't caused by emulation. They were caused by a weird, dumb setting. So now, maybe you'd like to see what graphical glitches actually look like when they're being emulated. So that's what I'm going to do next. So, in the next video. Or actually, I'll do it as part of this video, actually. I know it's going to run a little bit over, but it'll be okay. So I'm going to unplug the charger from the phone just so I can take it into the living room. I'm also going to turn off the PS3, I think. Turn off the PS3. Oh wait, actually no, I'm not going to turn off the PS3 because I still have to take the disc out later. Anyway, so next I'm going to go ahead and come into the front room. So, as you see, here's my TV. It looks like it's off. It's really not, which is crazy. But yeah, I'm going to change the input to being what it is on the PS5. I need to make sure, I'm going to be aiming the phone down at some points during this because there might be some content in it that you might not consider appropriate or something. So I'm going to aim the phone down when those show up and then aim it up when it's okay. So let's go ahead and First I need the remote. I need to change the input. On the PS5. Yeah, it's already like that. Okay, so I mean not showing inappropriate stuff. I mean that I need to change some things, but just to prove that the PS5 emulates the PS4 games. So first I'm gonna. Oh, did that turn off? Oh, I didn't know the PS5 controller turns off on its own after you leave it sitting for so long. Oh, it didn't turn off. Its battery's like dying. Oh, great. This is what I needed. Issues. I wonder if I can actually leave it on long enough just to get it back on. Okay, so I'm gonna raise this up to about here. Okay, I think maybe I'll turn the. Now the light makes it worse. Okay, so I'm gonna put it like right about here. I'm gonna start up the game. Hopefully I'm in the right spot. You might experience unexpected game behavior while playing PS4 games on the PS5. So I hope you saw that. If you didn't, try pausing the video, because I got it there. Okay, now the next thing is I gotta get into the game for a minute to set it up. Or not to set it up, but I mean to get into a screen where it's appropriate. Because, you know, might want to see girls in swimsuits or something. So that's why I'm gonna just get past this screen and then I'll flip it back up to the TV later. In case you're wondering what this game is that we're gonna be showing here, it's called Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash. This game is on a PS4 game, which you can play on the PS5, and for some reason, you'll see it has a major graphical glitch, and it's not some small thing that you can't notice or won't notice. It's immediately noticeable. It's kind of hard to notice on my phone though, so you won't notice it as much as on the TV itself. But here, look at this. Just look at this. Do you see all those black lines running through flashing? You see all that rapid flashing? That should not be happening. That is an emulation glitch. Now you might be saying, well, they probably just does that on the PS4 as well. Oh yeah? Let's see what happens when you try the PS4. I have the PS4 on in my bedroom. So I'm going to go switch it to the input for the... I'm going to go into my bedroom and then put it on the PS4. Just put on the right input. And that's the PS4 controller. Okay, done that. That's over here. But anyways, I mean it's just weird because I thought it was trying to connect to the internet, but nah, it wasn't. And when I tried to turn on the controller, I mean. Anyways, so look at this. So this is kind of hard to tell because it's like looking all blue, but let's try brightening that a bit. Now, that's kind of hard to see. But yeah, look, her outfit, like you don't see all those black lines running through it like you did before. Look, I know I'm kind of walking so I don't get hit, but yeah, ow, I keep getting hit. But anyway, let me try to pause this. But yeah, so as you can see, yeah, so, oh sorry, I'm kind of shaking the phone. Oh yeah, let's kind of let that focus a little bit. Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust it a little bit so you can see it better, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be looking any better. What if I just turn that off and I focus? Ow.